Imagine waking up tomorrow, and the US dollar in your pocket isn't the most important money in the world anymore. Every country uses a mysterious digital balance called the Bancor to settle their debts. It sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory or a plot from a sci-fi novel. But back in the 1970s, this was a very real plan that almost changed the global economy forever. We are talking about a moment when the entire foundation of how we buy and sell things across borders was falling apart. And the smartest minds in finance were ready to pull the trigger on a global currency that no single nation controlled. To understand why this matters, you have to realize that the 1970s were absolute chaos for money. The world ran on the Bretton Woods system, where every currency was tied to the dollar, and the dollar was tied to gold. But by 1971, the US was printed way too much cash to fund wars and social programs. And foreign countries started getting nervous. President Richard Nixon eventually shocked the world by cutting the link to gold, sending the dollar into a tailspin. This left a massive vacuum. If the dollar wasn't as good as gold, what could the world trust? Enter the ghost of John Maynard Keynes and his idea for the Bancor. The Bancor wasn't actually a new idea in the 70s, but it became the desperate solution to a massive problem. Keynes had originally proposed it in the 40s as a neutral unit of account. Think of it like a scoreboard for the global economy. Instead of every country hoarding dollars, they would trade using Bancor units managed by an international bank. In the 70s, as inflation spiraled out of control and the oil crisis hit, the International Monetary Fund seriously considered reviving this as a way to stabilize the mess. The logic was simple but radical. If the world used a neutral currency, no single country like the US could bully others with its monetary policy. One concrete example of why this was so tempting involves the crazy exchange rate swings of 1973. Imagine you are a business owner in Germany trying to sell cars to America. One week, your cars are affordable. The next week, they are overpriced because the dollar shifted 5%. A global Bancor would have leveled that playing field, creating a steady baseline that didn't care about Washington politics. It would have functioned like a primitive version of a decentralized digital currency. Decades before Bitcoin was even a thought, the plan gained serious momentum among economists who were tired of the dollar's high wire act. The dream of the Bancor eventually hit a brick wall for one major reason. The United States realized that if the world moved to a global currency, it would lose its greatest superpower, which is the ability to print the world's reserve currency. By the late 70s, the US hiked interest rates aggressively to save the dollar, and the push for a global unit faded into the background. We ended up sticking with the dollar-centric system we have today, for better or worse. But looking back, the Bancor plan reminds us that our current financial system isn't permanent. It was a choice, and we came incredibly close to a world where a global central bank ran everything. If you found this dive into hidden economic history fascinating, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives. What do you think? Would a global currency make things more stable, or just give too much power to bureaucrats? Let me know in the comments.